Used to getting flipped off on a daily basis, or just driving through a neighborhood and have somebody saying, F the police. And that's something that's become pretty normal throughout the day.
You try not to take it personally.
Do I think that there's bad officers out there? And I think absolutely there are.
And you say bad, I think I would describe as evil almost.
In any profession, not everyone's going to do the right thing.
I've got to believe in my heart it's less than 1%.
What the hell did you just say?
I've got to believe in my heart it's less than 1%.
Do I think that there's bad officers out there? And I think absolutely there are.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard American Airlines. We absolutely do have bad pilots out there.
Absolutely there are.
Most of them want you to arrive safely, but we do have some mavericks who want to nosedive right into a busy highway, and there's really nothing we can do about that. Well, what can you expect? Not everyone's going to do the right thing.
Not everyone's going to do the right thing.
And none of our good pilots seem to want to let us know who those bad pilots are. But we've got to believe in our hearts that it's less than 1%.
I've got to believe in my heart it's less than 1%.
So on behalf of the flight crew and American Airlines, have a safe flight, and here's hoping you got one of our good pilots. Regardless of what people want me to do, I'm not going to stop exposing this good cop propaganda campaign that continually goes on, because it numbs the minds of the masses. And when the minds of the masses are numbed, they call for more law enforcement activity, kind of like we're seeing right now happening in Washington, D.C. But these cops, they represent the worst of humanity while pretending to be the best of us. In their minds, officer safety trumps your individual rights and even your life. They're just order followers with badges, and in the history of mankind, order followers were never the good guys. They threaten you, they fine you, they terrorize you. They're the enforcement arm of political elitists. And we just need to be honest about this. So we are going to look at this. This is called the good cop. I just want you to listen to what they say, and I want to pay attention to what they want you to forget, because they don't want you to think about the trooper Rodney Dunns from Arkansas who have no problem performing pit maneuvers on pregnant women, and then everybody else in the department doesn't have a problem with it, and people like that, people like Trooper Rodney Dunn, get promoted. They don't want you to focus on that. They want you to focus on the good things they do. They want you to believe that they're good people. They're there for the justice and safety of society, and nothing can be further from the truth. That's why we're going to go through this. I would appreciate it if you stayed with it till the end of this video. Yes, I know it's disgusting, but maybe you can share this video with somebody else and open their eyes, because as long as they have order following, leather munching bootlickers, they are going to continue to do what they're doing. Check this out. And of course, they start with the minor chord progressions to evoke emotions. This is all artificial. This is all propaganda. Kalamazoo Police Department.
Like what I do? I am a marriage counselor, a teacher, social worker, psychologist, psychiatrist, a police officer.
An organized criminal, a harasser, a writer of false reports.
Medical first responder, firefighter. I mean, we do so many things every night that are outside of putting handcuffs on people and writing tickets. The solving the marital disputes. People don't.
We do more than just cuffing innocent people and economically terrorizing them. I mean, there's more to our job than this.
Think about that. That's something you do every single night, is solve a family problem.
Obviously the fun and exciting stuff The crime fighting stuff is what gets on TV. I don't think that somebody would want to go and watch me try and track down a dog that's running loose through a neighborhood and taking it out to the pound. But
or shoot a dog that's on the loose, or shoot a family pet because I thought they were attacking me when it really wasn't, or holding at gunpoint a family who's trying to rush to get their dying pet to a vet. I'm not going to mention that in this, though, because we're supposed to be good cops, you see.
That's what we do. You know, there's a lot of not exciting stuff that we do, but it is, in one way or another, it's helping people.
I'm used to getting flipped off on a daily basis, or just driving through a neighborhood and have somebody saying, F the police. And that's something that's become pretty normal throughout the day.
And why do you think that is, officer? Are people out there flipping off EMTs or firefighters? Why would they be flipping you off? How many rights have you violated just today? How many people are sitting in a cage, innocent people sitting in a cage right now because you chose to lie on a report, or you chose to back a Thin Blue Line member that you knew was lying? They're going to be talking about the bad apples too here in a second, so stay tuned.
Boy, I've been called just about everything, from every racial epithet you can think of to just about every derogatory term. And so a lot of times, we're meeting people in crisis when they're at their worst. And so you're going to most times get their worst behavior, the worst things they can say.
Maybe, Sergeant, just maybe, that's because you guys who wear uniforms and shiny badges are at your worst on the human spectrum as you encounter us.
You try not to take it personally. That person has their own situation going on. Maybe they didn't want to go to jail on their warrant because their kid's birthday is tomorrow. We're put in a position a lot of times where we've got to make decisions that are going to affect someone's life, and may not affect just one person's life, but may affect several people's lives.
So you're talking about when they're clearly probably violating policy, and we're talking about an officer assaulting someone type of deal.
Yeah, what do you do, Sergeant? What do you do when you see a fellow officer violating the rights of somebody you're supposed to be protecting and serving?
I will never just outright say I side with the officer. Do I think that there's bad officers out there? And I think absolutely there are.
Oh, absolutely there are. Have you encountered any of them? What exactly would make a bad officer? What if an officer did something bad? What would you do? Would you step in to intervene? What if you saw a bad officer cuffing somebody, or making them sit on a curb like a dog, or making them sit along the roadside in a very dangerous situation in a very dangerous area as cars are zooming by at 60, 70 miles an hour? What would you do about that, officer? Have you done anything in the past? You acknowledge that there are bad apples. Who were they? Did you report them? What happened after you reported them?
And you say bad, I think, I would describe as evil almost, or they get good at camouflaging that up. So we have to be better at uncovering it.
In any profession, not everyone's going to do the right thing.
Yeah, but Sarge, you got to admit, if you're being honest, that most professions can't have bad apples in them. Like American Airlines can't say, well, most of our pilots are good and they like to land, but we have some bad apples who like to crash into mountains.
That's just the reality. And you get some people who just, for whatever reason, are going to do things they know they shouldn't be doing.
But
really? Hey, Sarge, have you ever turned any of those in? Have you ever written a report against them? Have you ever put the cuffs on those bad apples that you witnessed, that you acknowledge are in your department? No, you haven't, have you?
I've got to believe in my heart it's less than 1%.
You've got to believe in your heart? This guy is a bad apple. The other three that we've seen are bad apples. How do we know? Because they're order followers, and most laws are evil. So basically what they are, if they're law enforcers and most of the laws are evil, then they are enforcers of that which is evil, which means they took a profession, signed on the dotted line voluntarily to do evil things to their fellow man in the name of protecting and serving. That is disgusting. That's despicable. And if we're honest, that's law enforcement.
In a very noble profession.
And stay tuned, because underneath this video, in one of the recent posts, there's a 30-year law enforcement officer who weighs in.
That are acting out in ways that bring such bad press, and legitimately bad press, to our profession. The number one issue for police agencies is trust and confidence with the community, and looking at ways that we can go from what some might term a warrior mindset to a guardian mindset. We should be guardian servants is the role of a police officer.
A very memorable, I guess, bad day for me was when I was part of an investigation for a child abuse case, which ended in the homicide of that child. And that was hard because the child was the same age as my daughter. So coming home after dealing with that and then seeing my daughter, it was one of those things.
Don't you wonder how many rights she's violated? How many false reports she's written? How many times she and her fellow Thin Blue Line have committed crimes against the rest of us and she just remained silent? Don't you wonder how many tickets she's written? How many people she's driven into bankruptcy because that was the final straw in their financial coffin? How many times has she been on house raids? How many times has she enacted civil asset forfeiture, legalized armed robbery? How many times did she say, "I smell weed," or "I think you're driving under the influence"?
You come home and you're just overcome with emotion, seeing my daughter alive. And it was just one of those things where it just hits you when you get home, how good you have it.
Yeah, April 18th, 2011, an officer called for assistance on the south side of the city, saying he'd been shot at. So me and a couple other guys were sent to clear an alleyway. Well, when I got to the alleyway, I could see two people on the ground, and one of them I could immediately see was a police officer, blue. And I ran to the officer, and me and a couple guys just grabbed him. And it turned out it was another officer I'd worked with for a few years, Eric Zapata, and he was shot in the head and the stomach. And
maybe it was self-defense. Maybe this guy was in the process of committing a crime or doing wrong in the name of the law.
Even my closeness to that actually...
It's amazing what this propaganda does, because it actually cuts off and it neuters critical thinking, and people get swept up in the music and the emotion and the storytelling, and they never press the pause button to ask the question, but what if you were in the hallway with Philip Brailsford as he executed Daniel Shaver? What if you were there when Philando Castile was being murdered? What if you were there when Johnny Hurley was shot in the back after he saved the entire Arvada Police Department? What would you have done? And we know the answer to that question because dozens of officers are around when all of these heinous things happen, and none of them do anything to apprehend the criminal with the uniform, badge, and gun.
Carrying him to the car, I couldn't. I still to this day can't even visualize what it looked like. And so that was pretty tough, and something I still every day deal with.
Let me just show you what this 30-year veteran says in the comment section. He says, "I'm a 30-year honorably retired police officer. I absolutely wasted the best years of my life to serve an ungrateful and ignorant society. I will undoubtedly die younger as a result of my profession and the injuries and stress I experienced on duty. If I had it to do all over again, I would never choose law enforcement as a vocation or recommend it to others. Yep, you bet I'm bitter. I had to fight career criminals, leftist politicians, hate-filled citizens, corrupt lawyers, moron judges, a mentally retarded media, and gutless, weak management just to do my job. Utter waste of talent, education, time, and my desire to help others." And I couldn't help but comment under his comment. But did you enforce unconstitutional laws? Did you violate anyone's rights? Did you ticket or cuff anyone who didn't harm others? Did you ever lie on a report or cover for your Thin Blue Line buddies when they were clearly in the wrong? Was there any law you wouldn't enforce, or did you just follow orders? All right, back to the finishing touches on this propaganda programming.
Whenever they call, no matter who they are, whether or not we've had a bad encounter with them before, if they call the police, we come. It's the cliche of people are running away from gunfire and we're running towards it, and that's the truth. We're there to help.
That's the truth. 376 officers from 5 different agencies in Uvalde, Texas, absolutely did not run toward the danger. Did not lift a finger, not even a trigger finger, to help a bunch of kids being shot in a classroom with a door that was unlocked. Not one of 376, and she would be the 377th if she was on the scene.
There to protect people. As much as people want to have their own opinions of it, we don't discriminate. If you need help, we're there.
Have their own opinions, don't discriminate. Then explain an officer, a goddamn Connecticut State Trooper, Officer Brian Fahey. Explain a Dallas police officer, Amber Geiger, blowing away a man on his own couch, Botham Jean, who did absolutely nothing wrong and for no damn reason. Explain an entire NYPD back in the 70s and the 90s who were thoroughly investigated, after which the commissioners concluded, yep, they're eaten up with active police criminality. And tell me how you would be different, ma'am, when every single one of them seemed to succumb to a circle and a cycle of criminality.
To help in any way we can.
No one should live in fear where they live, so...
Then why are we constantly in fear every time you guys pull up behind us? Because we know you're running our plates. We know when you pull us over, you're going to demand our ID under the threat of force and violence. We know you're going to come with the Thin Blue Line attitude of entitlement.
Certainly, growing up in an area that wasn't always the greatest, you certainly realized how a few can dominate, for the many, and people can feel really uncomfortable in an area. And so I just wanted to make it so, no matter what it was or what side of town it was, on any street, people felt comfortable to go out and walk, live, and however I
go and walk and ride your bikes. Oh, that's right. You can't do that in Galveston, Texas, because they harass and arrest and fine people for not having the appropriate lights on their bicycles.
No lights on your bike? I got lights in my truck. I'm going to give you a pair whenever he gets done with you. You're welcome. This is what they should be doing, but instead they would rather put you in a cage and steal your money.
You people are disgusting.
help bring that about. That's what I wanted to do.
Just truly helping someone. That might sound cliche, but it's...
It doesn't sound cliche. It just sounds like a lie.
I think that's where you get the most satisfaction in this line of work.
My experience has been overwhelmingly the majority of men and women that I'm working around truly want to serve, and they want to fill that capacity.
Wait a minute, the majority? Shouldn't it be all? So the ones that don't want to serve, what did you do about that? The ones that aren't going to be good apples but choose to be the bad apples? What do you mean the majority? You should be saying all. If you're not saying all, then you're a whistleblower, right? You're exposing the bad cops. You're calling them out. You're arresting them.
Of being a servant leader. So we're here for them, I guess, is what I really want our public to know.
I would like to just remind them, I guess, that we're real people and that we don't get in this job for the money. Pay's not that great. I guess I'd just really like to remind them that we're in this job to do good and that we can't do it without the public's help.
So that was another piece of propaganda called The Good Cop. Leave your thoughts about this. If I left out anything, be sure to leave your thoughts below. If you haven't done so already and you like these commentary videos, give this video a like, share it with everybody you know. Let me know if you've ever run into a good cop. What makes a cop good? How can a cop be good when he's enforcing unjust laws and swears to do so. Share this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.